And he's looking right into the camera lens. Right here. Look at those eyes. Never do this if you're in a movie. Hello, I'm Rian Johnson. I wrote and directed Glass Onion, and this is Notes on a Scene.
Oh my God! We can't hug, right? I mean, can we? I just want to hug everybody.
Hey.
Oh my
Elbow.
God! Oh my God! Hi.
Yes, please.
Did you two stay at the hotel last night? I didn't see you.
No, Bertie, we clearly just arrived.
But you. Hello, stranger danger.
Miles Braun, who is played by Edward Norton, is a tech billionaire. He's invited all of his douchey friends to a private island in Greece for a murder mystery party. And this is a scene where everybody first shows up on the dock. This was the very first shot that we did in the entire movie. Day one, shot one. You can see we got that beautiful glint of the sun off the water. It was nice and early. Matches nothing else in the scene lighting-wise, but it's gorgeous, so who cares? First movie, cozy brown New England sweaters. This movie, we got the blues and yellows of summer in Greece with beautiful swimwear. And so instantly we know this is a whole new deal. And I wanted to establish really clearly for the audience right off the bat, we're going to have them be totally new deals every single time. And for me, this goes back to the original source of inspiration for all of this, which is my love of Agatha Christie's work and her books. She was coming into each one with a totally different conceptual approach, and she was trying twists and turns and narrative gambits, and she was subverting the tropes of the genre from the very start. Leslie Odom Jr. showing up right here. Leslie worked with Jenny Egan, who's our costume designer. Jenny has the task with these movies of making people look as distinct as characters in a game of Clue, but also looking like somebody that would be walking around in the real world. Daniel sat down with Jenny and he said, I want to be Jacques Tati by way of Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief. And I was very proud the instant I saw him show up in that hat. I said, oh, Jacques Tati? And then I saw the high-waisted pants. And I'm like, is that little Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief? So my voice went up 8 octaves. Catherine Hahn, starring as Claire de Bella.
Governor!
Poor Catherine, talking about costumes. Catherine showed up and she's like, oh, I'm in a Benoit Blanc mystery. Everyone wears fabulous costumes. This is gonna be amazing. And she shows up and she walks past the racks of clothes, and there's Kate's rack that's glimmering colors, and there's Daniel's rack that's all these fabulous outfits. And then she gets to her rack. And as you can see here, my directive to Jenny Egan was beige. I just wanted her in sad tans and beige. I think of the phrase that I used, I said I wanted to be the sad trumpet noise of costumes in this movie.
Governor!
Hi, you genius.
So here is Kate Hudson, starring as Birdie J, making a fabulous entrance. Oh my God, here is Nikos, who is a producer at our company, and he's looking right into the camera lens. This makes me so happy. I've completely busted Nikos. Right here, look at those eyes. Never do this if you're in a movie. Nikos, I love you so much. And then back here, you can see Birdie's long-suffering publicist, Peg, who's played by Jess Hennick back here, barely holding on. And in terms of Jenny Egan and the costumes, Birdie was kind of like a joy. Birdie was the one where you just she used to be like a fashion designer in the movie, so Jenny could really go to town. As opposed to the first movie where we kind of come into the story through Anna de Armas's character. In this one, we're kind of coming into it through Blanc's eyes. So one thing my editor, Bob Doucet, and I would do, we would keep cutting back to these little looks from him and see him taking all of this in. I think that's kind of a cue to the audience to watch carefully, but it also keeps us grounded in his perspective.
Hello. Oh my God. We can't can't hug, right? I mean, can we? I just want to hug everybody. Oh my God,
Elbow.
oh my God, hi.
Yes, please.
The camera is pulling back and it's pulling forward. So here, start with a perfectly framed thing of the cart creating this great shape along the left, guiding your eye back to Birdie. And we get a full shot of Birdie because we want to give her kind of the dancer's introduction of, hello, here I am. And all of the lines are guiding you back to Birdie. If you look, this and this, it's all taking your eye right here, where the money is, Kate Hudson. So we've now introduced Birdie, and now the camera is going to move back with her from our perfect frame, rise up, because it's now all going to be about heads as we come back and reveal Catherine and Leslie. Zoom! And we still keep Peg exactly right there. Jess hit her mark perfectly, so she's still deep in the background. And you'll notice we're still, from their gazes, going back here, and all the lines are still leading us back to where we want to be looking, which is Kate. But as she goes back and forth to him and to her, she wants to hug them, but no way. And those lines work for Blanc, too. Oh, look at that! Oh my God, your eye is in the exact same part of the frame. Directing!
Hello. Oh my God. We can't hug, right? I mean, can we? I just want to hug everybody. Oh my God.
Elbow.
If you take a look, I mean, the camera was basically like right here, essentially. We're seeing the ground, which all means we can't have dolly track. And to move the camera on a surface like this, you can't just roll it because it would be bouncing all over the place. So we're on a jib arm here. And so we have a remote head, which is basically a little, robot head that the camera is on that can move all sorts of directions on the end of a long pole, which is a jib. It's, if I ignore these beautiful actors who basically have a dolly, and then we have a counterweighted jib, and then there's a camera head here, and then the camera itself is mounted right there. Boy, that's a horrible drawing. The jib operator stands back here and is also the dolly operator, and he's doing two things. He's pulling the dolly back. He's also levering the jib arm to do that little rise that you saw before. Meanwhile, our camera operator, Dale Myron, is back off someplace else at his little station, and he's got basically a monitor, and he has a couple of wheels. He has a wheel that turns this way and a wheel that turns this way, and he's operating the pan and the tilt of the camera remotely. That's what lets us do this move of jump, because it's a fairly wide lens where they're actually fairly tight together right here. Whoomp, to do that little reveal of both of them.
Yes, please.
Did you two stay at the hotel last night? I didn't see you.
No, Birdie, we clearly just arrived.
Again, all trying to frame this in terms of Blanc taking in this stage show. And so Blanc's little kind of step forward here, because he recognizes Birdie J, and also just guiding it all to Blanc is taking this in. He also looks a bit like Claude Rains in The Invisible Man here, which I quite enjoy.
No, Birdie, we clearly just arrived. But you.
One of the things I'm always very gratified if it gets a laugh is Kate's mask. So I wrote this movie in 2020. I wrote it during lockdown, which is probably part of the reason why it takes place on the Greek islands. Like everyone else in the world, I was sitting home and fading Greek island. Let's see if this works. It's like where I wanted to be. But the notion of, this is something I think all of us experience, the notion of defining people's personalities based on their choice of mask wear. You can see Catherine back there has, very beige mask. You'll see Lionel, who's supposed to be a scientist, has a very proper N95 mask. Blanc has a very dapper mask that's coordinated to his outfit. And Kate, I think we all knew some version of this person. She's trying. She's wearing, she's like, I'm masked. What do you want? First of all, I should make clear very quickly, we're going to be on Miles's private island and get rid of the masks. This is not a mask movie. But for this one scene, it was very interesting. Directing with a mask is tough because the communication is such a huge part of what you do on set. And more than that, being an audience for the actors is such a huge part. Literally, them just seeing you smiling at a joke that they're doing or laughing or being back behind. So it's very tough with a mask, but it makes you focus in more on the eyes, I think. I also think it's kind of trained us how to kind of see mask acting.
Did you two stay at the hotel last night? I didn't see you.
No, Birdie, we clearly just arrived. But you. Hello, stranger danger.
This is another fun thing. Leslie has now gone deep and we pulled back a little further, so Catherine's here. But what's going to happen here is without moving the camera at all, Kate is going to transform the frame by coming up to a close-up. And the shape of her hat then completely defines the frame.
But you, hello, stranger danger.
Mr. Blanc, you are stranger danger?
Stranger danger? That's the Nikos' one line. Nikos is Greek, so, and I'm gonna stop picking on Nikos now.
You are stranger danger?
What is Catherine doing? Is she smelling herself? She is. If you watch Catherine Hahn in the background of this movie, it's a whole other movie, and I just noticed she's doing a little BO check right there, which seems very clear. Well done, Catherine.
You are stranger danger?
No, that's fine, Nikos. I don't even know what that means.
Wait a second. Benoit Blanc?
Oh my God, are you Benoit Blanc, the detective? Did you solve the murder of, what's her name? That, the belly dancer.
I want just like a poster just of Catherine from this frame. She gets very excited about Benoit Blanc being on the island, and her mask slips down to being like a chin bra. She gets excited, and then she catches herself. Oh. And even just like tiny little moments like that, like it cues you into she's very conscious of the mask etiquette.
The detective? Did you solve the murder of, what's her name? That, the belly dancer with the thing and the thing. That's you?
It is.
So there's a very nice little thing that Leslie does here where you can just see his eyes narrow a little bit. He doesn't have much to work with. He's got, he's fully masked up here. He's even wearing a hat. So you just have this. And there's a little moment when he realizes there's a detective along on this trip where you see him paying attention. I love that moment. When you're working with an ensemble of actors and you're getting all these close-ups and you're running the scenes and just having them do it, stuff like this is pure gold when you get in the edit room because you're looking for these little moments the actors give you that's gonna give you a hint of more going on than was originally on the page and keeping everybody alive in the scene in a group. It's a big part of what we do in the edit room.
That's you?
It is. In the flesh. I'm obviously familiar with you all as well. Governor, Dr. Tucson, Miss Buddy J. What an extraordinary gathering.
Blanc, again, is very much the audience for the introduction of all these characters. And I very much loved how this pier lent itself to that. We have him isolated on this side with the ocean behind him. And then when we cut back to them, we have a stage, basically. Where blocking-wise, these people are putting on a performance and we're seeing each of them kind of display their personalities for Blanc. So let's just completely embrace that. Logistically, very, very difficult because we're actually on this relatively narrow little pier, little jetty, so there's nowhere to go. So actually the boat that shows up later in the scene, we had it parked at the end the whole time just so that we could stage camera equipment and stuff on it and have like a little place for the actors to go and cool off, because it was in the high 90s when we were shooting this. But it also meant that I basically had two directions to shoot in. Looking at Blanc, and then we got this shot looking back, not at Blanc. The nice thing about this was it made me really focus on blocking in terms of the characters and trying to create depth, but trying to make sure that you could see everybody, and this frame is a good example of that. So it also means the actors have to be very, very precise. We have to give them exact marks to hit. Catherine was one step to the left, she'd be blocking Birdie. If Lionel was one step to the right, he'd be blocking Peg. Kind of like a very delicate dance, especially when everyone has to move into these positions. And we'll see an even better example of that when Dave Bautista arrives. I promise he's coming. I know everyone's waiting for Dave Bautista to show up.
What an extraordinary gathering.
This scene used to be much, much longer in the first cut of the movie. It was sort of a thing where when everyone showed up, they had a little conversation to begin with. This scene was a bit like the library scene at the beginning of Knives Out. Really quickly, we realized pacing-wise, we also kind of want to just, get through it and get to the island and get to the mystery. My editor and I ended up cutting it shorter and shorter. There used to be, when you hear the gunshot, we have these beautiful drone shots of Dave and Maddie riding on this motorcycle along like a coastal road. It's absolutely stunning. And so we would cut away to that and big sweeping music. But it's a sort of thing where it looks gorgeous and it's beautiful and it's awesome. And then you put the scene together and the scene's too long and it's just, well, hear the gunshots, see him arrive. And luckily we had done this little transition shot going up and over the luggage so the cut works.
Crew, we've arrived.
I love that insert shot. I don't know. It's a little Coen Brothers-like detail, but I spent a lot of time getting that insert shot exactly right. Although I think you can kind of see it's not our first take. You can see the scrape on the ground. It's already there from it. Movie magic that I'm ruining for you all right here.
Disruptors have assembled.
This shot I was quite proud of, this take, because the blocking of it evolves as we go back. We start just with Dave, we reveal Jess, no way am I hugging you. Kate comes in, and then keeping Blanc alive back here is the other thing, and all these reverses. Again, always thinking that we're seeing the scene through Blanc's eyes. Also, may I point out Catherine's sad yellow visor, which she took great joy in.
Hey guys, remember my girl, Whiskey?
Hi.
Of course, whiskey. Hello.
Who's that?
Why are you in Greece, Mr. Blanc?
This type of blocking, where it's a lineup and it's very exact and precise. Yeah, Wes Anderson is like the first director that I go to who does this a lot. It's something where you're also trying to create depth in the frame. So it's foreground, midground, and then background with Jess doing her weird like stretches. This is also a good frame to talk about the influence of The Last of Sheila on this movie. The Last of Sheila is a murder mystery from the 70s that was co-written by Stephen Sondheim and Anthony Perkins. It's an incredible murder mystery. We take a real page from it in terms of the setup of this movie. There's a scene at the beginning where they all arrive at the dock, and there's a famous thing where they all line up for a photo. Kate is very much channeling Diane Cannon from that movie.
Why are you in Greece, Mr. Blanc?
I was invited by Miles Braun.
Tight with Miles?
No, never met.
You're trying to be as economic as possible in terms of the storytelling. You're trying to get across as much as possible. The whole gag of everyone hears his gun and he's firing his gun and he makes a big deal out of it. Not a huge spoiler that in a murder mystery, the gun will probably play a part at some point in the story. So we're trying to set it up through moments that don't feel like they're setting it up. The other thing that you're trying to communicate, and the blocking has a lot to do with this, is the characters' relationships to each other and how they kind of relate to each other. Claire and Lionel kind of have a connection in this movie, sort of the grown-ups of the whole group. So grouping them together in the foreground and putting them on equal plane, connecting up Duke, who Dave plays, and Whiskey, who Maddie plays, having them always paired together is important. And then Kate in the background with Peg, always deep background. There's kind of a running gag that Peg, because she's the assistant, she's just constantly ignored throughout the weekend. And so having her always present in the frame, but always kind of in behind in the deep background.
Oh, I get it. The murder mystery thing. Benoit Blanc is gonna help solve the mystery of Miles's murder. This should be fun.
Cute.
Well, we'll see.
And here's the boat. Casting-wise with this movie, I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Look at this lineup right here. With casting with these movies, you're trying to obviously get the best person for each role and the best actor for each role. You're also kind of throwing a dinner party and putting together an invite list for a dinner party, because this is a true ensemble. And every single one of these people could and have carried their own movies entirely. And they're coming out for a few months to Greece to click together and work in frames like this one that you're seeing here, where they're all playing together. This is also giving every single one of these actors and characters an entrance and giving them a theatrical entrance where they part the curtains, step out to center stage, and get a little round of applause and recognition before we actually get into all the murder and mayhem, which is good for several reasons. It's mostly good from a storytelling point of view because you need to be able to track every single one of these people going forward. So having a scene at the beginning where they step out to the end of the stage and make their introductions like this. It was a great way to start.